Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of the podcast. Number
Sir.
127 over here. Diego to my right. How are you doing? Hope the audience is doing well. I'm sure you're happy after a magnificent win by the Thunder. I know you're in the process of buying a house. A lot of busy work. I'm very excited about that. Well, just
Yeah.
checking in here. How are you?
Uh, like you said, just busy. I mean, I've had a little buying this house that I'm doing. I am in like a grad school class. I am just with work as well. I'm like pretty wired. So taking up a lot of my time, but I did want to make sure I got this in today because this is kind of like and do all this other stuff. This is probably the one thing I actually love to do is like talk about basketball and watch
Oh, come
basketball.
on.
So
Flushing
yeah,
right now.
so so I definitely want to get this done today. So yeah, and then even better, we are talking about my Mavs doing something notable for good reason. So I'm excited. I'm
You know
pretty
what? Great
excited.
segue. That was an excellent segue. You're learning the stuff. Maybe I'll
Uh,
have you host one of these episodes.
God, a
Yeah.
solo episode of me would be insane. There would be infinitely many tangents. It would be wild. But
Hey,
yes,
a lot better than a lot of stone silence from me. So yeah, you know how it'd be. You know how it'd be with the Thunder. Ninth in the West right now. Just took out the top seed in the West. Great game. They won by
God.
6 over Oklahoma City last Thursday. I know you were
Mhm.
itching to talk about this. Spencer Dinwiddie, 28 points. Lou
Yeah.
Dort, where are you? Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, Kyrie Irving doing his thing. PJ Washington, 19 rebounds, 17 on the defensive side. What did you make of this game?
Yeah. I mean, big thing, Lou Dort. I think we've all seen the video of Lou Dort hitting Daniel Gafford in the nuts and being ejected. That was amazing. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the fourth quarter, but knowing that happened made me really happy because, man, I feel like Lou Dort gets away with a lot of things. My man is built like a linebacker, and he's just a menace, literally. So that's probably a big reason for such a good game. Another thing, PJ Washington actually had 20 rebounds, but the last rebound, I believe, was counted as a team rebound. So that's why it's 19. Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of 2020 games, especially for a guy that is 6'8". I thought it was 6'10", but he's actually 6'8". I might have to investigate a little bit more there. But yeah, and I mean, um, this is the third win for the Mavs against the Thunder. And on Twitter, people like Thunder fans were saying, "Oh, you guys just beat us because we didn't have our centers or SGA." And this time, yeah, they didn't have our centers, but we also didn't have Luka Doncic or Derek Lively in this morass of a lot of guys missing time. Najee Marshall is still out with an illness. I have no idea what the illness is. It's been like over a week, so I hope he's okay. So it's just a huge win. And like I said, 3 wins. We lost one during the in-season tournament, and that's the season series, folks. The Thunder might have beat us in the in-season tournament, but we win the season series, and we look like the big kids on the block. We still look like the big, bad, scary team, even though we're not that big or bad moment at this moment because Luka isn't playing. But other thing, Olivier Maxence Prosper. Who is that? He is the second year player on the Mavs who's just him. I mean, in this game, I don't know how many points he had. He had double digits for sure, and had 9 free throws. Shot 4 of 6 overall though, and 5 of 9 from the free throw line. Kind of lame, but he's really been popping off with the Mavs being kind of thin, so that's been pretty good. And yeah, I really like his game. Great defender, hitting some threes. Which anytime I see a guy that's a good defender come into the league, I'm like, if he just starts hitting threes, he's a lock for to do whatever he wants. And Max is starting to do that. So very interesting there. Um,
Just watching the highlights, the guy that stands out to me is Kessler Edwards. Like
oh yeah,
he
yeah.
was in the starting lineup. He's thrust in there, and
Mhm.
his stat box doesn't jump off the page here. He got 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. But
Yeah.
when I was watching him like be decisive when the ball gets passed over to him, he had a
Mhm.
nice like SGA took away the three, so he had a nice baseline drive and finished had a tough finish over trailing SGA and like a Mavs a Thunder guy trying to recover to defend the paint. And
Yeah.
he finished really well for that. And like if you have your role players playing like that, like it seems like the Mavs have found like they finally built this the right way, where you have like guys like Edwards, Dinwiddie, Grimes, Prosper, Kleba, Jaden Hardy when he's healthy, like Derek
Yeah.
Lively when he's healthy, Daniel Gafford when he's. They just know how to use their role players now, and that was the
Mhm.
big thing I took away from this game. Like when you have Spencer Dinwiddie who can create his own shot, like leading the team with 28 points, and you're just
Yeah.
allowing Kyrie to like curl around your big man just shooting threes whenever he wants, like that's a good spot to be in. That's a really
Yeah.
good spot to be in.
Yeah. And I think it's just big having your backup guys do that. I mean, Dinwiddie from going from last year on the Lakers doing absolutely nothing. No offense to him, but I mean the Lakers are kind of a complex, unidentifiable basketball entity at this point. To being a really good player on this team, I mean he's kind of the second guy, and he really has to lead those bench lineups. So he's been playing well. Just required mention. I love Quentin Grimes. Some recent Mavs stuff. He is the highest dunk scorer of the season on that dunk again on Luka Cornett. Even though we lost the game, I say we lost the battle, but we might win the war with just that dunk score. And anything else? There was another thing. Oh, and last night we absolutely smacked around the Wizards. I really needed that. I had it on in the background, and I was so happy. I started yelling. 70-point half, a 40-point quarter. It's all you need. And Kyrie only played like 28 minutes. Like that, that's excellent. So Clay also went off. So good moment to be a Mavs fan. We play the Pelicans tomorrow. Hopefully better than last time. And then Friday, I'm going to see these Mavericks in here in Detroit. So
Ooh, that would be fun. That
I'm
would be a fun
excited.
match. I'm hoping to build
Yeah,
more around Cade, but that's gonna be exciting.
yeah. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I would say the only other thing to focus in this game for Oklahoma City is I get that Jalen Williams is amazing and he led the team with
Hmm.
33 points, but you can't have your entire team run through Shea and Jalen like
Yeah.
every single game. Like Casey Wallace, 7 points. Lou Dort, 6 points. Only put up 5 shots. Turned the ball over a
Gosh.
ton. Like
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how many turnovers he had. He had that can't be right.
Boy.
They
Only two
said he
turnovers.
had 0 turnovers, but that was just like a classic box score. No, because I'm watching these highlights and he's like the sole
Hmm.
cause. I'm like, why these balls are like going the Mavs way. So
Okay.
it's that I don't trust that statistic there. There, but
Okay.
he put the team in bad spots just offensively wise, and then wasn't
Hmm.
able to guard Kyrie or limit him in any capacity. Like when you have guys, role players now doing their thing on the Thunder, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes, and not to
Yeah.
mention the like perceived height advantage the Dallas Mavericks already have on them. Like
Hmm.
that's the thing that stands out to me. You cannot have okay, SGA and Williams combining for 63, great. But where's the rest of the crew? Didn't really see them tonight.
Yep. And what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, and like when the Thunder are at their best, I mean, you have like an Aaron Wiggins masterclass. Like I think against the Warriors. No, against the Celtics. I think it's Celtics. And like you have an Isaiah Joe huge game, I think, against the Cavs. Like when those guys can pop off, that really alleviates all the load that SGA and Jalen Williams have to take. But it's also because you don't have really any centers, so that doesn't help either. So good for us, not as great for them, but I think it's a good time for that win. Needed it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Both stretch for the Cavaliers are now 37-9. Um, lost two important games. They did win yesterday, but
Mhm.
losing to the Sixers and then losing to the Rockets. What do you make of their recent struggles?
Yeah, I mean, those two teams, I think the biggest thing is just, I mean, the Sixers had six double-digit scores against them. I mean, Paul George, obvious. Tyrese Maxey, obvious. And then you had, wait, is that, yeah, then four guys. You had Gershon Yabusele. This dude wasn't even in the NBA last year. He's dropping double
Double
digits on
double.
you. Eric Gordon in 2025 is dropping double digits on you. That's insane. I have here his nickname, Tsunami Poppy. That's Kelly Oubre. He drops double digit points on you. And then the last and possibly the most egregious, Justin Edwards. I was like, who's Justin Edwards? Exactly. He's dropping double digits on you. That's a problem. So
They
that was
don't have
basically the
Joel
big.
Embiid. They don't have Jared McCain for the rest of
Exactly.
the year, and they did that
Like
on you.
just very insane to me. But I mean, Garland, Mitchell, and Ty Jerome had made their presence felt. I mean, they were all in double digits. I mean, Ty Jerome had a crazy game where he only missed 3 shots and didn't miss a three, and Donovan Mitchell went 7 of 15 from deep. So not really on them. I guess you could point to Jared Allen and Eric Mobley because
You got 15 threes from just those two. That's insane.
no, from Donovan Mitchell alone.
No, I mean makes like 15 minutes.
Oh
Because Ty
yes,
Jerome went 8 for 8. Donovan Mitchell went 7 for
gosh,
15. 15
holy
threes by a
mackerel!
team is normally really good, and they hit what? They hit so many. Because you got
Yeah,
4 from Garland, you got 7 from Mitchell, 2 from Max Strus. That's 13.
yeah.
8 from
Hmm.
Jerome, 21. Merrill, that gets you to 23. Yang, 24. And then Tyson hit 1. They
Hmm.
hit 25 threes in this game, and they lost by 3.
That's a lot of threes, man. So, what's I think did they lose the points in the paint? Yeah, Cavs lost in points to the paint, but I don't think they lost by much, did they?
I mean, that's the thing that stands out to me, especially without
Yeah,
a Joel Embiid. And then looking at the next two Cavs games, I get that Evan Mobley didn't play, but there's no
yeah.
reason Jared Allen should only get 8
There we go.
shots when you're
Yeah,
going against a guy like Yabusele. And then
true.
when you look at the game against the Rockets, a game they also struggled in, uh,
Yeah.
Mobley had 7 points off 8 shots. Jared Allen had fewer shot attempts, 5, and he had 8 points.
Wow.
There's no excuse for that. There's like we were just talking about the Cavs like a couple episodes ago and like how their main
Hmm.
strength is the combination of Mobley and Jared Allen working together. And I think
Yeah.
these two games where they're not getting enough volume is
Hmm.
indicative of why they're struggling and losing. Because
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, Garland didn't have the best night against the Sixers because you don't want like a slightly more than like a point per shot. You want to
Hmm.
have bet like he had 26 points for 21 shots, and that's a lot
Yeah.
of shots to get there.
It's a
Um,
lot of shots.
you don't want that. Like, but
Hmm.
other than that, Garland and Mitch have been playing out of their mind. But what they need to seem really special is like the versatility of Mobley and how well Mobley and Allen work together. And when you have one game where he's not playing well and you have to start Wade instead, and then
Hmm.
the next game they're not getting enough shot attempts or enough interactions with each other. Yeah, no duh, you lose these two. That being said, they lost by a combined 7 points. So when
Yeah.
I look at this, I'm not panicking. And the way Garland lost them the game by missing two of their
Yeah.
free throws on a when he got a free
Earlier
throw
last
foul
week.
and missing the
Hmm.
layup, like that is
Hmm.
that is not a nasty combo. So I mean, all in all, I wouldn't hit the panic button yet, but the Cavs have to remember who they are. Like
Hmm.
Garland Mitchell, Allen Mobley is gonna take them most of the way there, but they need to remember about Allen and Mobley.
Yep. And keys from the Rockets game. Another 6 players in double digits for the Rockets. Fred VanVleet went 6 of 9 from deep, and I do remember seeing a classic late game moon ball from Fred VanVleet. I mean, offensively, the Rockets are just like Fred take us home, and he does some magical stuff sometimes. So that's very wild. Steven Adams had 14 points, but also I didn't note it here because I just saw it and I was like, oh, Amen Thompson getting some points, kind of insane. But yesterday, Amen Thompson has like 30, 36, 33, some high number of
On the
points
Celtics, right? That
on the
he's been
Celtics,
balling.
hits the game
He's
winner.
been balling.
The Rockets, and I saw this on Twitter today. The Rockets are 5-0 against the top 3 teams in both conferences in their last 5 games, something like that. For sure, they're 5-0 against those teams. I don't know if it's their last 5 games, but they're on a heater right now. And 2 of those wins here against the Rocket or against the Cavs in the past 2 weeks. So they're looking like world beaters, and I think we should all be scared because that's the one thing that um, I wasn't too worried about with the Rockets is that they don't have the offense to justify really being a contender. But if you have Amen Thompson scoring 33 whenever he wants or double digits as easily as he did, it gets kind of scary with Shingun and Jalen Green and Van Vliet
Yeah,
and
you have enough at that point. Şengün, Thompson, and Green like pulling in 90 points combined, or like anywhere ranging
yeah.
from like 80 to 90 points. That will get the job done.
And Dylan Brooks hit 10 threes last night. What in the world? Like actual Dylan the villain sighting. Like truly scary to me.
I
Um,
think the big thing that scares about the Rockets is their combination of Eason and
mhm.
Amin Thompson on the defense side of the ball.
Yep, yep.
They're just monsters. They're just monsters, and it's hard to. But like going back to the Cavs, me, I'm not worried. They just have to remember who they are philosophically.
No,
That's the
definitely.
main thing this tells me. I'm not too shocked the defense. Yeah, that needs to be tightened up. But
Yeah,
like offensively speaking, they need to remember who they are.
yeah. That's part of the defense, part of their identity as well. So I think they'll get back on that as well. So we'll see.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Not much to talk about there. Not much to talk about our All Star like predictions compared to reality. I think that it ended up looking pretty good. I think I screwed up the perfect All Star lineups here, because I was so intent on having Lamelo Ball being there. So, official All
Yeah.
Star lineups you have from the East side Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell as your guards, well deserved.
Hmm.
Front court you have Giannis, Jason Tatum, and Carl Anthony Towns. So, yeah, 4 out of 5 there. And then for you, Diego, you got Curry, Shea, Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Jokic. I
Yep.
think we went 5 for 5.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think obviously I agree with it because I guessed correctly, right? But hearing on some podcasts, some people have reservations on do LeBron, Steph, and KD deserve All Star starter spots automatically? I mean, that was my thought. Um, but if you think about it, like some said that possibly Wemby deserves a starting spot, then that takes you're definitely not taking out Jokic because he, in fact, is I think the best player in the world. And then it's LeBron or KD, and it's kind of a toss up at that point because I don't want like obviously they're great players and their legacies are really what carries them here, but they're not necessarily the greatest players in the world right now, and so that's kind of a bit of a thought, you know.
I would
Um,
probably take out KD just
yeah,
because he's played less games, and
hmm,
Victor Wembanyama's been more of a force on the defensive side this year
yeah,
compared to what
yeah.
we've seen of Kevin Durant. So that's just me. Um,
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind if he swapped him for LeBron either. Again, just because their impact of the game is still there, but like Wemby's impact is like he could be MVP of the league if you
Yeah,
really think about it. If the Spurs had a better record, he could be MVP of the league.
I mean, he's
Like he
definitely
has
getting
that.
votes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he has that much of an argument with Shea and Nikola just going crazy.
Yep. And I guess my only other comment is, since Lamelo Ball didn't make it as a starter, do we think he makes an All-Star lineup at all? Is there a claim that he might not make it? Was also another thing I've heard is was him being an All-Star starter the easiest way for him to become an All-Star again? That's a good question. I don't know. There's a lot of good guard talent in the East. I mean, you have Damian Lillard, who was not on our starting lineup. Donovan Mitchell, like we said, Darius Garland has a claim. That's already 4 guys, including Lamelo. I think you have like 5 spots
Five
max.
total. When you're thinking about
Yeah.
Brunson and Mitchell, right?
Mhm.
So
So we'll see what happens there.
yeah,
It's gonna be very close.
I would I
But
wouldn't mind adding another guard in there, and I know Paolo was that was a big talking point
well,
on the NBA on TNT show like that.
mhm.
They were just like he shouldn't be on there and whatnot. So um,
I mean, yeah, he hasn't played enough games. That's the biggest thing.
I
And
only wish he was
and
healthy, like because he would have probably made this like a really hard
oh
hard
yeah,
decision.
no, definitely. That brings the question: do we need a game threshold to be an All Star? Who knows? More debate, more discussion.
Um, for me, I would say play at least 10. But
Yeah.
like if to me it's not necessarily on like how many games you play. It's more on like the impact you have in the games, like on a court,
Hmm.
because
Yep.
basketball is such a team-oriented sport where like yeah, you can individually dominate, but
Mhm.
like what is your impact on your teammates? And I
Yeah.
think I think LaMelo Ball just in the standpoint of like how he gets guys involved and like the flashiness and like the playmaker he is
Hmm.
warrants a good art. Nothing against Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson
Yeah.
can get 40 points whenever he wants.
Yeah.
but I just think Lamelo Ball does a better job at the point guard skill position with the way he plays offensively than Jalen Brunson does.
Hmm.
Jalen Brunson's a killer, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's just my opinion watching. Like I would say the same thing about Wemby. I think Wemby has a greater impact on the game than KD right now. Like
Yeah.
I will say that. And maybe if I were to be egregious, LeBron right now. LeBron in his
Yeah.
prime, probably not. But
Yeah.
like LeBron is still making an impact. But I think Wemby's impact this year has just been otherworldly.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. It's been different. I mean, he's leading them to almost a 500 record after being one of the worst teams last year. So very, very interesting. And yeah, that's our all-star picks.
yeah. All right. So we got NBA Rivals Week coming up. I know you wanted to talk about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
basically,
this was last week more than anything, right?
right.
Yeah. Um, what do you have? I had some quick thoughts.
Uh, not much, not much. I think the thing that stands out is Wemby returning to France and
Right.
like
That was
dropping
interesting.
30, absolutely insane. Like that was fun to watch that against the Pacers. That was the big thing. I didn't
Hmm.
watch too many games during Rivals Week. I was mostly concerned with the postseason. But yeah, that was the thing that
Ah,
stand out, and I was like, oh, that is very very cool. And then you got the Lakers and the Warriors coming in and like
yep.
facing off each other. That'll be exciting. But
Hmm.
yeah, well, what did you think?
So I think the big thing is that there are like two to three types of rivalries for Rivals Week. You have the classic playoff finals matchups of the past. We saw that with all of the Mavs games: Mavs Thunder, Mavs Wolves, Mavs Celtics. Unfortunately, the last one wasn't as fun as I would have liked, but whatever. So that's one type, right? Yeah. Then you have player on player matchups. So, right, the Sixers Nuggets would be ideally an Embiid Jokic matchup, but that really has never panned out since Embiid's either injured or just doesn't like playing in Denver for reasons unknown to the public. Or Pelicans Grizzlies, where it's a good idea. I think they were both in the same draft class, John Zion Williamson, but it's not really that big of a rivalry. They're not because Zion mostly doesn't play as much or enough. So that's kind of eh. And then the last one is geographical matchups of closeness, right? Nets Knicks was a big one, but also the opposite of Celtics Lakers. I mean, that's just also you could say a classic matchup. That's the NBA's like top tier elite
Who's gonna lead the
matchup.
banners and whatnot? Yeah, I thought it was a
Mhm.
cool twist. I thought it brought interest in the schedule just because like leading up to
Yep.
the All Star, all the games before the All Star break is like
Yeah.
I think it's too many games, and I think bringing this in, especially with like the in season tournament, adds enough spacing between them where it's like it can get you
Hmm.
excited for it. So I thought the matches were great. Um, it was definitely cool to see the Lakers square off against the Warriors. I know LeBron and
Yeah.
Steph has been like a budding rivalry for years. But yeah, but then you got like the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like Ja and Zion went top two in the draft, and we've
Hmm.
lamented both of them for different reasons. And
Yeah.
knowing that they were 4-4 in their matchups, like up to this point,
Really.
that was
I didn't
very
know that.
interesting. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It helps add some spice to some January basketball. But I think the big thing is to I guess there needs to be a way to kind of flex the schedule in case there's injury issues. Like I said, like the Mavs didn't
100%.
have great games against the Wolves or the Celtics. Sixers, I feel like you could just assume Embiid's going to be injured, so maybe they shouldn't schedule Embiid and the Sixers as such. So that's my only real feedback. But I think overall it's a great idea, and yeah, January basketball needs
That's
some
that's
hype, and
hard
they
to
did that.
that's hard to predict injuries. So I
Yeah.
do get what you're saying with flexing. I think that
Hmm.
would be that would be helpful, and I think there's enough to go around. Like
Yeah.
maybe you have like the Bucks and the Trailblazers, or maybe something wild like the Thunder versus the Clippers. Like how do they face off that 5 team like 5-pick trade that they tried to do
Yeah.
for Paul George, or like Timberwolves and Utah. Like I think rivalries can be determined differently. Like obviously Boston and LA, you don't want to
Hmm.
remove that. That's just
No,
a big
that's a
selling
lock.
point. But what about the Pistons and the Rockets? I would love to see that during Rivals Week. That will be like in the
Oh,
future. That will be fun.
yes.
That will be fun to see.
Yep. I was gonna say something. No, I don't remember. But yeah.
But I think having backup matchups like
Hmm.
around that time where you have like everybody playing during Rivals Week and like to schedule that in somehow kind
Yeah.
of insulates you, and then you're just focused on like flexing it to the right time, so
Yep.
that the market that you're trying to gravitate to can adopt that game
Hmm.
when injuries inevitably strike up. So that was
Yeah.
yeah. I I like the concept. I think they should keep it.
No, for sure. We'll see it more. I think I saw it last year as well. So it definitely isn't the first year of it. So I'm glad to see them keep doing something. And yeah, I mean, there's no way the NBA can go down in games because that means less money. So they have to
They
find a way
started
to
in 2022,
finagle.
so yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I haven't. I don't watch much basketball until like after the All Star break, so I didn't really
Hmm.
pay attention to this until you brought it up. So
Yeah.
I think I think the concept is that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Especially when you're putting into markets like TNT, ESPN, ABC. Like
Hmm.
you know it's gonna get eyes on it. So um, yeah, just hope nobody gets injured. I think they
Yeah.
should keep doing what they're doing.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Alrighty, any parting words for the audience, Diego?
Um, enjoy the basketball product. I mean, we've all heard that everyone just chucks up threes, but honestly, last night's games, Celtics Rockets went to the wire. Miami Orlando went to double OT, and then um, there's another game, but just interesting. These are big games happening, very interesting, going down to the wire. It's a great product, and yeah, we might be shooting a lot of threes, but it doesn't matter the shot you get in the end. Well, it does, but what matters is how you get there, and that's if you're really getting frustrated with that, then think about how they're making those threes, and that'll show you some of the wrinkles. That's
Yeah,
my
that was
point for
beautifully
today.
said. I think the defense in this
Hmm.
in this new NBA is I really love how like OKC and Houston are bringing a return to that.
Yeah.
That is depth, and the Celtics obviously can't go without like that is something where like I personally love basketball for that. Like
Hmm.
it's okay, it's fine. Like I think I get fatigued when watching scores hit 40 or 50 because like
Hmm.
people do that off the regular, like SGA just did, and it's like
Yeah.
you can blink when it happens. But I think it's very cool to see if you have like a defensive oriented team and how that unit squares off against like powerhouse offense. That's always fun just to like just watch as a fan, like to see like
Yeah.
oh how do teams scheme around that, like in looking at the concepts, like how do you run horns, like how do you run like
Hmm.
all all these pick and roll concepts. What are you trying to get to? And then um, just how they brought like non-shooters back into the scoring focus mode in the last
Yeah.
couple of years has been really fun to see. So a lot of great basketball coming up. College basketball is ramping up too. We're
Illinois.
to the months where um, it's gonna be it's gonna be vital that you watch.
Madness.
So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, guys. NFL season's almost done in 2 weeks, so that just means more basketball.
Yep. It's an important time. I'm excited.
Alrighty, guys. That's it from us. You can follow us on our Instagram at
Ciao.
amon.a.mission right down there, and our YouTube channel, Amon a Mission, where you got our full length videos so you never miss a vid. All right,
Perfect.
guys. Take it easy. Diego, hit the outro, man.
See ya.